Hey guys, happy Friday. It's Hitman23. I'm doing a video today on Friday afternoon, late Friday afternoon, regarding a big part of my PC. I don't know, about a month or so ago, Lou Rock laughed when I was talking about some of my weird PCs, and he's like, "Dude, you should do a video on all your different PCs." And now I've been thinking about it, and I've showed stuff here and there, but I've never really done a full-on expose of all of my different PCs. I'm certainly not going to do that in this video. So what I'm going to do is probably just start off with one. For sure, just start off with one because it'd be too much to do other ones as well. And how I store some of my cards and what I do and how to display my cards. I don't really have a ton of cards on display. You can see right back here, I have a few. I have some of my nicer, my favorite cards, autograph, a couple of Redskin autographs. I have one of my Don Mattingly autographs. I have my Aaron Judge autograph right there. Like I said, this is my, this space here is my dining room. So I don't have a card room, so it's not like I could put a ton out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just do a little lead into this one, and then I'll show you what I do with this part of my collection. So if I start talking to you about some players like Mickey Mantle, Ernie Banks, Kirby Puckett, Don Drysdale, Bob Gibson, Al Kaline, Cal Ripken, Ed Kranepool, who else? Let me think. There's a bunch. Joe Mauer, Mike Schmidt, Terry Harmon, Don Mattingly. There's some amazing Hall of Fame players in there, and there's some, who are those guys, like who might they be? So what all those players have in common is they spent their entire career with one franchise, okay? And the research I did on this, and you can find this stuff, it's on Wikipedia. That's where I got my research from. Because I always think about different ways to collect, I don't have, a ton of, resources in terms of finances to put into my collection. I think I have a fairly, respectable collection, but I don't, and I'm trying to change in how I buy things. I'm not buying as much mass anymore, and tonnage. I'm really trying to focus more down on singles and better cards. But of course, there's that other stuff, those outliers, all the stuff that we collected as, kids, and, we collected through the 80s and the 90s. There's a lot of cards, just a lot of tonnage, right? So I'm not one to just waste things and throw them away. I try to look at my cards as a way to say, how can I collect these, this hobby, or be part of this hobby where it's really fun, like something fun about the hobby, okay? And that's where I came up with all these quirky PC ideas and just different ways to collect. And, a few guys out on YouTube do that. I know Eric Forleaf, he's got the quirky collection. Geez Mikey does that as well. It's just a really fun way to enjoy your cards, And what's nice about it is you don't need high dollar cards to do that. In fact, most of them are low dollar cards and, dime box fine. So that's the fun of it, I've always said, you can't have the really expensive cards. I don't want to say are meaningless. They're not meaningless, but aren't, if we didn't have the really cheap cards, what would the really expensive cards be, worth to people? Not in just a, in a collectible way, but in a monetarily way. And, again, I do this for fun. Of course, everybody cares about, their collections and the value in their collections. Someday, we're all not going to be here forever, right? We're just borrowing this stuff. This stuff is all borrowed, right? It ain't coming with me. So, my sons someday will get this stuff, and they're going to do what they're going to do with it. And it would be nice if they could sell it for, and make something on it. I'm not expecting them to be able to retire on it. They certainly won't be able to do that. But again, it's not like that's the biggest impetus of why I do this. I do this because I love it. I've always loved it. So, on that point, the first group of cards I'm going to show you for all those players. Again, those players all played their entire careers with one franchise, okay? The statistics or the information I found is that there's about 180, I think it was 100, between 180, 185 players in the entire history of the game of baseball that spent their entire career with just one franchise. I mean, you think about that, that's a small amount. That's a small sample size. So it's pretty rare to find a player, especially in the days since free agency and all this movement, that a player will spend their entire career with one team. Really, right now, the only guy I can think of is Joey Votto. I'm trying to think, who just finished up their career with the Cardinals. Yadier Molina spent his entire career at the Cardinals. Some modern guys. But you don't see that as much anymore like you did back in the day, right? So I think that's awesome to see when a player does spend their entire career with one franchise. It shows loyalty on both sides, and you don't really see that a lot, really in any angle of life these days. Loyalty is not something that, is looked upon in such high regard, but I think it's a cool thing. I think it's a cool little niche, and I think it's a fun way to have a PC. It's not something that you see done every day. So what I did is, and I'm going to show you in a second, is I do my my players that have played for one franchise and by team binder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back in a second and show you the binders, what binders I use, and what I do to spruce them up just a little bit, and to just go through one of them just to give you an idea of what types of players. And again, you'll see that it's not just all Hall of Fame and star players. It's just other, lunch pail regular players that are in this. And that's what's cool, because you can have a Hall of Famer right next to a non-Hall of Famer, and, and just see those comparisons, and it's just very cool. So I will be right back, and I will show you what I'm talking about. All right, guys, I'm back, and you can see I have one of my 9-section binder shelves here, and you can see at the top there are some binders that have team stickers on them, and these are my one franchise PCs, right? And what I do is I buy these binders here at they're at Target, and I get the most of the time the primary color of the team, and then I take my old Fleer stickers that I have tons of, and I cut them up, and you can see what I did. I put them in the spine of the binder, and that's how I do it. Definitely not as nice as G's Mikey, but that's what I have, and I'm not quite as artistic as he is. So, but it definitely reminds me of G's Mikey, and I definitely want to give him a shout out because he does a great job with his binders. But I think it's kind of cool how I use the different colors of the team to denote the different players inside. So, for example, I know this one here, the Padres. I'd love to get a brown binder, but I cannot find a brown binder for the life of me. So I went with the secondary color. I go back to the 70s and think of the Padres as the brown and gold. So I use the gold to pick up that color from their scheme. So not every team has one, you'll see. I mean, there's a lot of teams that don't have players that have spent their entire career with the franchise. I mean, the A's really only have, I think, 2 that I did research on. And I'm talking, from, basically Kansas City through Oakland. You can go all the way back to the Philadelphia A's, but I'm really doing more of the modern post-war type stuff here. So let me show you, let me pick out one of the teams. I'll do the Royals. Let's show the Royals, The Royals don't get too much love. So this is what I do on the front. I just go online and I print off a logo. One of the cool logos that I like, so I found this one. And I just slip it in the front of the binder. And then I put the sticker, I cut around the sticker and I slip it in the spine. And then inside, of course, is the player. So, of course, Hall of Famer George Brett is going to lead it off because, I do it alphabetically, right? So all of my George Brett cards that I own that aren't within their respective sets, is in here. So we got George Brett. And I always thought that was cool. The design in that 94 Topps George Brett is just so cool. Now, I'm not sure if they did that purposely, but if you look at it, the scoreboard, the design of the scoreboard fits almost, well, exactly with the design of the card, right? Because they're doing like a baseball diamond shape here. So this and this, set off really well. And it's just such a cool photo, from behind him. And you see, all the action on the field, the umpire, the catcher, the pitcher being, throwing the ball, the bat. That reminds me of an early 70s style card. That could have been in 71 or 73 tops easily, right? So I always thought that was a very cool card. So we got George Brett. And got a decent amount of Brett cards here. You got modern stuff. No, those aren't real. Those are reprintos, right? Those are those reprints. I do have the real one in the set. Right? So different parallels, again. Just fun stuff. Those Topps rub downs from like 1981. Those are very cool. Always like those. And then we get Alex Gordon. Now, I don't have the 2006 Alex Gordon, which was that, that card that shouldn't have ever been released. But he spent his entire career with the Royals. So we got Alex Gordon. Right. Dennis Leonard spent his entire career with the Royals. Okay. And he was a pretty good pitcher for them. Then we have Salvador Perez. He is, up to this point, spent his entire career with the Royals. Now, it's interesting because that's his rookie card, but it doesn't have the rookie card logo. I don't know if he has a Bowman that has a rookie card logo, but that's his rookie card. And this guy's a great catcher. He's put together a really nice career. Got some really nice action shots here. So we got Salvador Perez and all of his glory. All right, some more there. And who's after Sal? Paul Splittorff, okay? Another big part of the those mid-70s to late 70s Royals teams. Was definitely a decent pitcher for them. But again, spent his entire career with the Royals. We got John Wathan, who spent his entire career with the Royals, and he managed the Royals for a little while after his playing days are over. So John Wathan, you can see a couple of his manager cards here. He stole 31 stolen bases, or he had 31 stolen bases in 1982. So for a catcher, that was pretty amazing. I think he broke John Stearns' record at the time. There's some beautiful 84 and 85 Donruss right there. Love those. And then of course, we have second baseman Frank White. Very underrated player. Very good player, and was a Royal for his entire career. He was a Yankee killer, man. I remember he always beat he always played, really well against the Yankees. As a kid watching the Yankees and the Royals go at it. But that's it. I think this is the last player for this team. And that's what I do, that's how I do it. And it's really fun, because you can go through all your commons boxes and find these themes and find patterns of, hey, I have a lot of this guy. Why don't I do this with this guy? And then, of course, the Rockies. This is a one-player. Actually, no, it's a two-player binder. I lied. I have Charlie Blackmon, who's still a Rocky. And I have, of course, after Charlie Blackmon, we're going to have Todd Helton. So I got Charlie Blackmon and Todd Helton. We will see if Blackmon remains in this binder or not. He's still active. But again, don't know if he'll, finish his career with the Rockies. And so that's it. That's my that's one of my bigger PCs, aside from my my trophy cards. Is the I call the one franchise PC. And again, there's the binders. So I don't think I have to belabor the entire lineup here and show everything. Maybe I'll do a random binder here and there. But yeah, guys, that's one of the ways. That's one of my PCs, and I do talk about a lot in my channel that I don't really show. But there we go. So I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this. And it's something a little different that I haven't done before. And leave me any comments or anything down below. Something I should do. You think it's something that I can make it better? Let me know, because I always like to try to improve my collection in terms of aesthetics. And you might say, hey, Mike, there's a player from this team that you missed or something, or no players. I have a list, but just shoot the breeze down there and let me know. All right, guys, I'm gonna take off, and you guys have a great weekend. Happy Friday. Enjoy yourselves. Stay cool. And as always, may the cardboard God shine down upon each and every one of you all. All right, guys, take care. Peace. I'll see you at the next video. Boo-bye.